This week on Corbins Ride On, we'll head to Toronto for Canada's biggest motorcycle charity event, the Ride for Sight. Welcome to Corbins Ride On. I'm Brian Jackson, and we're in Toronto for the Central Ontario leg of Canada's Ride for Sight. It's the country's largest private fundraiser for vision research, and probably one of the largest motorcycle charity initiatives in the world. Now, this is the 25th anniversary of this event that lets Canadian riders raise millions to fight blindness. The giant parking lot of Toronto's International Centre served as the staging area for the Ride for Sight, and riders began arriving by 8 a.m. to register, get their rally IDs, and turn in their donations before chowing down Canadian style on pancakes and sausage. I found out more about the event from Executive Chairman John McBride.
This started 25 years ago when the York Wings and Jim Bentley decided to go for a ride and raise some money, and it took about 2 years for them to actually start funding the foundation funding blindness, and since then it's just grown, and here we are. Well, there's 300 volunteers that just put in thousands of hours, and myself, when I became chair 5 years ago, I was just amazed with the volunteers that just sort of said, what can I do? And then when all of a sudden I kept on seeing these riders, I was just sort of how generous they are. This year we hope to exceed 5,000 riders with over $1 million worth of contributions. The riders are what we count on, and they just keep on coming. The generosity is huge. Here they just keep on bringing money, and we take our hats off to them that they're just fantastic. The parade starts at 10 o'clock, and it'll take about an hour and a half to weave up Airport Road and into the Great Northern Exhibition, and it's just a lot of fun, and we've already heard that there's about 2,000 bikes in the park, so the party's started.
Donna Green is the president of Canada's Foundation Fighting Blindness and told me more about how the Ride for Sight and the foundation hooked up.
The foundation started by a few families getting together who had relatives or daughters, sons who were visually impaired, affected by different eye diseases affecting their sight. And it was one of those kind of impaired people who was also a motorcyclist. Now you have to understand that losing vision doesn't mean you just go dark. You slowly lose your peripheral vision in many cases. So this fellow was still riding, and he had a bunch of friends who were also riders, not afflicted with vision loss, and they said, let's ride with our buddy and hang with him and see what we can do. And then somebody had the bright idea of saying, well, we could probably raise a few dollars for eye research. And they were motorcyclists. So the beginning of Ride for Sight started 25 years ago. And you can see by the scene behind us that it's grown. Here we are. 25 years later, we're raising over $1 million, and all of those funds go toward eye research. We depend on Ride for Sight bringing in these funds to support our research endeavors. We couldn't do it without this ride.
Ride for Sight is not only about having fun at a huge event, it's about riders of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds banding together as a group to raise the much-needed funds for this very worthy cause.
After all the preliminaries, we were off. The incredible parade of several thousand bikes took off north on Toronto's Airport Road. Our destination, some 90 miles away, was the Great Northern Fair and Exposition Centre in Collingwood, located near the shores of Lake Superior's Georgian Bay. While much of the ride took us through the beautiful rolling hills of Ontario, past farms and pine forests, we also passed through many small towns where they were cheering and waving locals. The spectators loved the endless stream of bikes, and it was obvious how many people appreciated the cause we were riding for. Finally, we made it to the fairgrounds. Now, what did I do with my wristband? Thankfully, they let me in, along with my 5,000 fellow Ride for Sighters, to join in with some 2,000 more riders and campers who had arrived early and were already making a party of it. The minimum donation is $75, but I met riders who had raised literally thousands, pestering family, friends, and business contacts all year for pledges.
Last year, we were driving through lightning, rain, hail, and when we arrived here, we were up to half our wheels in mud. It was worth it. It's always worth it. It's always worth it, and it's for a great cause, so we want to support the cause.
Well, that was great. There was a little girl holding a sign up as we came through one of the small towns saying her dad had retinitis pigmentosa, and she thanked all the riders for their support, and it really made you feel good. It was very emotional.
Ride on!
The Central Ontario Ride for Sight is one of 8 rides held all across Canada every year. And now, after 25 years, the events have raised over $12 million to fight retinal dystrophies and the blindness they cause. At the Great Northern Fair and Expo Center, I met the man who started the whole thing 25 years ago, Jim Bentley. It was the blindness of his friend and fellow rider, Jack, that gave him the idea to organize riders to raise money to fight for a cure.
There's probably about 1 million people in the U.S. and 100,000 in Canada that are going blind with these diseases. So that's how we started. We have a chance to, take our charity ride and raise money to help the association, foundation that's doing something about it. Everybody said, good, we're good to go. And that's how it started. I'm so proud to be part of the motorcycle community, and I think anybody that rides should be, because this is proof of what you can do. I mean, if a bunch of bikers can get together, run this event, and keep it going for 25 years, and stick about $12 million in the hands of researchers, anything can happen. And damn it, my goal is to see my buddy Jack with his eyesight back and on his ass on a bike and come up here.
There was plenty of culture at this event. These guys have an interesting method of doing a burnout, for one thing, and it's the first time I ever witnessed tractor pulls without the tractor. The show and shine featured everything from the rattiest of rat bikes to the coolest of customs and top-notch paint jobs. And remember, all these bikes were ridden here, not a trailer in sight. Well, okay, one trailer. Add to that a super vendor area, lots of brands on hand with demo rides, and everybody I met was having a blast.
Carrie and I have been a few. We've done the games together, and it's John's first visit here.
First one.
What do you think?
So far I love it. This is amazing.
There's everything here. It's wild, from radical customs to dirt bikes. There's everything here.
Tell them why they should come to this rally.
Because it's fun. There's lots of shoppings and stuff like that. It's pretty good food, and there's lots of really cool bikes.
Well, there's actually an amazing group of classic rock bands, country bands. Then there's other types of entertainments like the bike game, tattoo contest, show and shine, fashion show. But we have some really great Canadian rock legends like Gatto and Chilliwack. We had the Killer Dwarfs last night, Paul James, who's played with Bob Dylan, and people just dance and have fun and make friends, and I tell you, I've had friends every year that I meet, and I see them here, and every year I meet more friends, and it's just so much fun I can't explain.
And is the invitation open for next year's event? You bet your back bacon it is.
Come up and enjoy this amazing event, but besides that, you're doing some very important work, so you can feel good about this ride and have a great time at the same time.
Ride on!
Canada's Ride for Sight is a terrific rally for a great cause, and I'd love to stay, but it's time for us to blast off. If you'd like to find out about next year's Ride for Sight, get your passport ready, then hit their website. It's rideforsight.org.